Hello beautiful people, welcome back to our channel. Ever since Nnamdi Kanu's adjournment to January 2022, a lot of legal practitioners, a lot of people in the judiciary arm are beginning to wonder, is this going to be a norm? Is it normal now for things like that to happen? Well, it looks like the lawyers and those in the legal system have decided to pull out the federal government, drag them very seriously over this matter. This has nothing really to do with the legal team of Nnamdi Kanu, but it has everything to do with the practice. Before we go into the newspaper to find out exactly what these guys have in stock for the federal government, to like you, subscribe to our channel by clicking on the red subscribe button. Beside it, you see a bell notification icon. Please go ahead, click on it to get notified as soon as we update our channel on YouTube. While Lagos lawyer and human rights activist Chief Malcolm Omohobo has sued the federal government and 5 others for allegedly denying lawyers and litigants access to the court during Kanu's trial. Respondents in the suit are, rather, other respondents in the suit are the Attorney General of the Federation, the Department of State Services (DSS), the Nigerian Police, the Nigerian Army, the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court, and the Chief Registrar of the Federal High Court. According to him, they allegedly delved into matters which they have neither the authority nor the competence for, which with respect to Nnamdi Kanu's case. The applicants prayed the court to declare the third, the fourth, the fifth, and the sixth defendant servants and or agents of the first defendant do not have the powers under the law to deprive the plaintiff, the lawyers, the journalists, and the Nigerian public access to the court during the trial of Kanu, adding that the administration of the Federal High Court is the statutory duty and responsibility of the seventh defendant. He also prayed the court to declare that the failure, refusal, and or neglect of the seventh defendant to make rules, regulations, issuing practice, directive, and procedure of the Federal High Court to enable the plaintiff, the lawyers, the journalists, and the Nigerian public access to the court during the trial of Nnamdi Kanu is tantamount to dereliction of duties and responsibilities of the seventh and eighth defendant. According to him, Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, has the resumption of innocence in his favor and therefore is entitled to a fair hearing in public, and that the seventh defendant is empowered to make rules, guidelines, directives, or law for the trial of Nnamdi Kanu by visual, live broadcast move than any of the trials to a bigger venue like the International Conference Center and streaming online, like streaming it. He then prayed the court for an order to restrain the first, the second, the third, fourth, fifth, and sixth defendants, the servants, agents, and or previews from further depriving the plaintiff, the lawyers, the journalists, and the general public access to the court during the trial of Nnamdi Kanu or any other high-profile case in Nigeria. Chief Malcolm also prayed the court for an injunction to restrain the second and the third defendant from supporting and patronizing the use of the first defendant to carry out the primary duties and responsibilities of the Nigerian police force in maintaining the internal security, law, order, in Nigeria without the backings of the law or without further due process and compliance with the law, he prayed. In the 37-paragraph affidavit disposed by Chief Malcolm, he affirmed that on June 29, 2021, the trial of Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra (Ipob), for treasonable felony resumed after 4 years, and the case was adjourned to July 26, 2021. On July 26, 2021, Kanu's case could not go on because the prosecution failed to produce him in court, and consequently the case was adjourned to October 21st, 2021. It came up with Kanu's presence in court, and after proceeding for that day, the case was adjourned, subsequently adjourned to November 10, 2021. He deposed. He averred that on those three occasions, the servants, agents, and all previews of the third and fourth defendant took over the premises and the adjoining room to main roads to the Federal High Court, Abuja, blocking them and setting up barricades, turning journalists, lawyers, and members of the public away from the surrounding of the court premises. According to him, they denied the lawyers, the litigants, and journalists and members of the public access into the court premises and courtroom, and this he is querying. This is quite serious. Now, this is not coming from Nnamdi Kanu's legal team, not at all. This is coming from a lawyer, totally different from the team. In fact, it's not for, it's not against, but he's just angry. He's not. He knows the law, and he's actually a lawyer. He knows the law, and he's saying, look, based on the law, this is not how it should be. If you call it a high-profile case, and it says a public hearing, then by all means make it public. Trying to block people, the likes of the journalists, from either live streaming it or having access to the courtroom, and even the lawyers themselves at some point they didn't even have access to the courtroom. But let's feel the pulse of Nigerians. Of course, Nigerians have started talking, and they're not sparing. They're not sparing the government at all. But we're going to take a cross section. No holds barred. This one here saying, corrupt politicians managing the affairs of the nation. God has exposed them through Nnamdi Kanu. No justice, no peace. This one here is saying, thank God for letting all Nigerians, especially the Southerners, to know that the Fulanis are at work. This one here is saying, there was no sufficient seat in the court to accommodate lawyers who have no case in the court. Who says so? There was enough. What's this one saying? There was more than enough. Let them fill up the spaces first. Then you now say there's not enough. There's enough space inside. Once you can count the number of persons. Okay, we want to do a certain number of persons. Then you count them and they all go in. But whatever the counting is, let there be at least journalists inside and lawyers too, for and against inside. So the public, so journalists can even live stream it. So the general public, both Nigeria and diaspora, can have a feel of what is going on in the courtroom live as it is happening. That has actually been the problem. Actually, nothing is happening. But this one is a move, and it's actually dragging them, all of them, to court. I don't know how this will play out, but then we are watching our eyes actually on the case. This one here is saying, Nigerian government is not moving through the law. They made the law, implement the law, and they disobey the law with all impunity. This is serious. This one here is saying, Nigeria, person tired for this nation. This one here is season 1. This one here is this whole thing is season 1. Season 2 is coming up. Okay, let's go wrap it up. Nigerians are really, airing their view. Let's see how the court case will fly. Let's see how this will go, because this is actually a lawyer filing against what took place, and it's neither in the team of Nnamdi Kanu nor even the government's team. Let's interact with it.